welcome to the Modern Farmer Podcast. And we actually bring you guys on Facebook Live to talk about a couple of topics. And if you guys have any questions, we're more than happy to answer them right now. I'm your co-host, Farmer Amir.
My co-host, Winemaker Gaurav.
Episode 29, almost 39 episodes, almost 30 episodes in. We started about a year ago. I think almost a year, right? We started in April, didn't we? So about a year in, we started this series of episodes with the main man, Jason. And so all of our episodes are live on Spotify, iTunes, all the social media channels. And we're actually on Instagram now as well. We record a video which goes on YouTube, and we record a podcast which goes on the audio streaming apps. Mm-hmm. Today we're talking about...
There's some weird stuff going on right now.
Yes.
The world, it feels like a movie.
It does.
I watched the NBA game the other day. It was the Mavericks. The owner of the Mavericks is Mark Cuban.
Yeah.
This guy's a billionaire. He found out the NBA season was suspended, and he's like, we're in a movie. If that guy says we're in a movie, we're in a movie.
Yeah.
It's crazy.
It is. It's nuts. And there's some key things that are obviously affecting our business that we're dealing with in the past couple of days that we need to get used to and make changes to. And I think those are what we want to talk about right now. The first thing I want to talk about right away is our migrant workers and getting the migrant workers here.
Wait.
Yep.
Just so you guys need to be clear, we are talking about COVID-19.
Oh, that's right.
If you haven't lived under a rock for the last, week, we're talking about COVID-19.
That's right. We never said it. So coronavirus. That's coronavirus. Right. So migrant workers and bringing them here has been a challenge for the past couple of days, and I've put it out there on social media saying our food safety is at risk. Okay. And I really do believe food safety is at risk, but I don't think I did a good job in explaining how food safety is at risk on our social media posts because we got them pushback. Because the thing that I said is that our migrant workers are not going to be able to come here. They're not going to be able to help us grow our food, plant our food, and harvest our food, okay? What I meant by that is that we don't hire a lot of migrant workers. We hire about 6 to 7 migrant workers per season. And it's not like some of the bigger farms that hire 20, 30 migrant workers because majority of our workers are locally Canadian, okay? And what I mean by those migrant workers and why they come in and where they're used is because they're highly skilled, and those skills have developed over time due to how innovative our business is. And I really, really do believe that Saul, who was supposed to come yesterday, 1 a.m., which was supposed to be his flight, it got canceled just a few hours beforehand. Okay, look at that.
That hurts.
It's hilarious.
That hurts.
It's really bad. So 1 a.m. when his flight was, he literally got canceled at 12 a.m. Okay, it was horrible. He's at the airport. He had to go home. It was so bad. So reason why he is so important for him to come is because he's lived and grown with us to we've become a commercial strawberry grower within the Fraser Valley. There's only 11 commercial strawberry farmers within the Fraser Valley that grow strawberries at the scale that we do anymore. Majority of the strawberry growers that we thought that were involved in the Fraser Valley are not here anymore. There used to be upwards of 60 growers. Now there's only 11 of them. And those 11 growers have their key staff to help them grow their berries the way that they grow their berries. Okay, you need help with strawberries. And what I mean by that is that growing any type of plant is like a relationship. You need to have the open communication with that plant on a day-to-day basis and react to what's happening to that plant based off of the weather, the soil, the bugs, the pest population, what chemical changes are happening in the industry, what supply and demand issues, if it's raining. These things are really important. And you can only develop that intuition or that experience and understanding of how that plant is moving based off experience and time. And I am not able to, some of the comments were saying, why don't you hire local Canadian workers for this season? It's not like just hiring someone to pick your berries, which we can hire local Canadians. And that's something that we are trying to do and which we really want to promote and get towards that, especially we have 2 months out, which we will be doing. But it's about having those key skill pillar employees that help you lead your business towards the right direction. And for us, people who are willing to step up and step forward and do that job in the past 10 years, which have developed the skills, is people like Saul. And they have still been a part of the SWAP and TFW program, temporary foreign workers or social agriculture worker program. And that's how they come over, and that's how they're part of this. And so it sucks not having them here. And I really wanted to take a second to explain that to everyone who's part of Facebook Live or who's part of Facebook, so they can understand that it's not just it's a mundane task. It's a task which is very complicated. It requires a lot of skills and intuition. Like I went to school for 4 years, and it's something that I and him really take seriously. And we are the main farmers for strawberries. And without him, I'm going to be challenged. It's going to be difficult to grow that amount of food that we usually used to grow. And it's going to be difficult to make sure that we supply the community with the berries that we have. We'll get through it. We'll figure it out. No problem. Because, I just want to talk, that's probably the next thing, is put morals and attitude and positivity. And we will get through it, but it's going to be difficult. It's definitely going to be difficult. I think personally it's an essential service, but I do understand, what I mean by essential service. Essential travelers are able to travel, and it's a part of our local economy and not local economy, local health and safety. But I do agree that if anybody is at risk and countries are at risk for providing or increasing the coronavirus and the pandemic here locally, we need, as Canada, is to hold that off and think about a right protocol to bring them over. I know the government is doing a really good job at that right now. Is figuring out what the protocol is going to be, and some of the things that they're actually doing is that the Mexican consulate has stopped taking new entries for new people coming to Canada, and is looking at foreign workers back to Canada who have already had established farms. So that's one way that they're limiting it. I'm not sure what other protocols they're going to put in place, but we're 100% willing to follow them. We want to make sure food and health safety is the number one thing. What's the point of us even bringing migrant workers over and helping us grow food if we can't even take safety as a number one precaution, right?
Yeah, no, strawberries are a main part of our business. It definitely hurts. It's a very unstable environment going on there. You don't know what's going to happen next. Maybe tomorrow everything will change. They'll be coming back. Or they won't be here until July 1st, and you're essentially screwed.
Yeah.
So you don't know either way. I feel like that's a big thing that's happening in the world right now. We just don't know. Politics is very, very confusing. There's so many things going on. You're hearing so many things from a lot of different people, like from your friends group, from your family, from extended family, from politicians, from the news. You're just hearing so many things, and strawberries is a huge part of the business. But to be the devil's advocate, we're in a lucky spot. A lot of people are in a different position than we are. We have a successful business where we can actually live off what we have for a good amount of time.
Definitely.
We can weather the storm.
Definitely.
But it definitely sucks that strawberries are a huge part of our business, and it's just gonna hurt.
It is definitely gonna hurt.
It's gonna hurt.
We're gonna figure out a solution where we can work with a means at our hands and look at our local community and really lean on them, and so they can lean on us to have good, healthy food. 100%, definitely. Yeah. And if that is growing our U-pick side and reducing our wholesale side, that's just what it's gonna be. That's no problem. That means more local food direct to consumers. Yep. They can come to the farm, learn about what social distancing on a farm is, learn about what food safety on a farm is, and we'll provide the opportunity to show them where the food comes from. There's nothing wrong with that. I'm 100% excited to do that, and that's an opportunity for us to show more people, where our food comes from.
No, 100%. So what I want to touch about that is a few episodes ago, I talked about the business's why. So I think this comes back to your why. Every time there's a situation that you're challenged with, or you're trying to make an opportunity happen, you should look at your why. So in my head, I kind of developed a why that I told, because I went out, I talked to a customer yesterday. They never tried the wine, so I wanted to go out there and have them try the wine. Even though it's you're trying to do your best.
Yep.
In the situation. So the way I started that conversation, it was my family is different. They challenge the status quo. They're innovative, and they evolved from being a strawberry farmer in the 70s, from even growing cold crops in the early 70s, transitioning to farming, from growing 150, 200 acres of cold crops to becoming a strawberry grower who only grows maybe 20 to 30 acres of strawberries, but now we're selling it straight to the consumer through a berry stand. That's evolving and innovating. Even from the beginning, that's the kind of the mindset that we had.
Oh, definitely.
So now, 30 years later, 40 years later, we have an agri-tourism business that's been being hit with an act of God. So you gotta think back on your why. How can you evolve? How can you challenge the status quo? How can you just be innovative?
Yeah.
So I think 100%. you touched on a part of the business which is huge. There's opportunity. Maybe we won't able to do wholesale.
Yeah.
Maybe U-pick could take off.
No, definitely.
Because we've been having a challenge with U-pick
You haven't focused on
in
it.
previous years,
Yeah.
right? So if customers are looking to go out to the farm, know where our food is coming from, want to make stuff they can buy and freeze for long term because they don't know what's going to happen next.
Yep.
You know, you can use all those opportunities just
Yep.
to evolve and innovate to make sure your business doesn't take as much of a
Yep.
hit.
Yep.
You know, so now you have like the opportunity. It's right now it's a shitty situation, but there's a lot of people that are taking an advantage of it, and their advantage is going to come in 10 years. It's not going to come now, right? So our advantage now is
I don't know. I don't like. So I think advantage and opportunities and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't want it to come across as a negative connotation.
No,
I wanted
100%.
I wanted to look at the point where we're growing within the current means that we're with the circumstance that we're in.
Yeah.
Like for example, some of the other farmers, some of the other suppliers for like TerraLink and Evergrow, like they supply other chemicals and fertilizers.
Yeah.
What they actually are doing is they have closed their doors. They've set up a checkout till on the outside,
Yeah.
where you have to call in beforehand to make the purchase order,
Yeah.
and all you do is come and sign a paper,
Yeah.
and go
Yeah.
to the warehouse to pick up.
Yeah.
So it limits that social distancing. It limits the people within those confined spaces where germs really do spread. Door handles get less touched. So I think that's like a way to continue on and grow, and that's what we're trying to get at. Not like okay, like I gotta all of a sudden put a COVID-19 label on something and sell it. I don't want to do that. I don't want to say take advantage of what's happening and sell. That's not something that we want to get across at all.
Yeah.
I think that we're both on the same page, but I just wanted to address that to everyone, is that we're trying to figure out how to weather the storm and pivot and change it and kind of look at things differently from a different perspective and provide people that same service and products that we always had, and our core values do not change, yet our positioning does.
Yeah, no, that comes back to what I was saying before, or like what I'm trying to touch on is, like, consumer behavior is going to change.
100%.
It's not going to change short term. It's going to change long term. You know, people are constantly thinking about washing their hands. They're constantly thinking about
Not touching the face.
6 feet away.
Yeah.
You know, because I was at a liquor store yesterday because Glenn wanted wine.
Yeah.
I bought a bottle of red wine.
Yeah.
You know, and the liquor store clerk maybe he was a little bit too close. He's like, 6 feet.
He said that?
He said it to me, and I couldn't say anything. I was like, okay, like,
That's solid. No, that's good.
That's 100% it.
Yeah,
right?
that's good.
So, like, to touch on consumer behavior, this is gonna change consumer behavior.
100%.
You know, look at companies like MasterCard and Visa. Like, they're gonna rise because all you do is tap.
Yeah.
You know, think about cash. No one's gonna be using cash anymore. In China, everybody's using their phone to pay stuff. You know, so this is an opportunity for all those companies to develop an app or develop something that can, like, take advantage of that.
Yep.
You know, and even the businesses that are going on, like maybe going forward, like businesses that are locked down and shut down, they're sitting there thinking about, like, how can we actually take advantage of the situation? How can we set up a drive-through? How can we set up an online system?
Exactly.
You know, there's so many opportunities out there. Even Disney, like, this mentioned that the consumer behavior is going to change in the parks.
Yeah.
You know, when they get back, maybe it won't be the same
For sure.
environment, right? So I think that comes back to evolving and innovating and kind of challenging the status quo. You know?
I think that's awesome. I think we can touch on. I really want to talk about changing consumer behavior with one of another core pillars of our business, and that has to do with events. Okay, so everybody already knows the Easter Bunnies and Booze and our regular family Easter is currently postponed or suspended, or it's not happening as of right now.
Sure.
Okay, we're in the process of providing people refunds for our Bunnies and Booze because they already spent money.
Yeah.
We just need to figure out our online services because we were in the middle of transitioning. We didn't expect this to happen, so it's taking a little longer than we needed to. But our main thing with events is that we are known to put on events that bring a lot of people into an area within a short period of time. So, for example, our Easter egg hunt, we can get thousands of people coming per day, and they're all interacting with each other in that sense. And we never had to look at our events from the perspective of coronavirus and spreading germs or spreading viruses like this. And that's something that we, as farmers, as agritourism providers, people are still going to want to experience coming out to the field, coming out to the farm, learning where their food's from, experiencing those holidays and festivities with their families, and spending time with their families on a farm and just being out in nature. Okay? But so what are we gonna do in regards to events is a really big question that we don't have the answers to right now. But do you have any insight on it from your perspective, or I want to know what you're thinking?
We can do a lot of stuff online. You know, people are hemmed up in their house. You know, even people that are in quarantine, what are they doing? They're on their phone, right? Maybe they have a laptop. Like you can do online things, like online events, like
Virtual.
Like why can't it be like a video game? You know, everybody's in the same situation. They're playing the same thing.
Yeah.
Like I'm sure you can do something like that.
Yeah, I do agree. So like one of the ideas that I've had, you had, and then we spoke with mom and getting this across. I think she's working on it. Is doing online cooking classes.
Yeah.
And so they can come and buy stuff, right? Go home and mom can teach them how to cook the food with them, and just go through that process. We got a question. What's going on? Sandeep saying, "Yo, I got full refund." So we actually postponed the wedding, which was my wedding, was happening in Mexico. So we actually postponed that. And then
I think
some
we should,
people got full
we should
refunds.
talk about his perception later on.
But anyways, yes, we should do virtual online classes. Even if Jason was saying, why are we not doing online yoga or virtual yoga with goats?
Yeah.
Even right, the goats can be inside the thing, but then our same instructors coming on and providing people that experience, regardless if it's free or it's paid or whatever it is. At least it's the opportunity for us to still be in people's minds, right? Still be with people throughout this experience and provide the community with an opportunity to exercise, right? So I think that's cool.
Yeah. No, even doing small things like teaching people how to take their strawberries, frozen strawberries, and making jam.
Yes.
You know, like younger generations, they don't know how to do that.
Yeah.
You know, now's the opportunity. Maybe canning strawberries or making, just making new things that'll like making preserves. You know, people are in that mindset. It's like, oh, what can I do? I might not have enough food. You know, or I might get bored of the food that I have. Yeah. You know, it's like
no, I see that being a really big part of us moving forward is just having the people come out here and either picking the fruit, taking the fruit with them in a social distance, sanitized and a healthy perspective, and taking all the safety precautions as farmers, providing people to do that. But then going home and then being part of the cooking class, which either mom or someone in our kitchen is providing for them to do those different things, making jams, making preserves, making different sangrias at homes, and just being a part of that. And sure, I bet you people are signing up for different not Periscope. What's it called? What's that thing where you can support people like
GoFundMe's and stuff.
Like not GoFundMe, but there's one more thing. It's starts with a P, man. I can't remember what it is.
I'll look it up.
But they're helping. Maybe you could look it up real quick. If they're helping people, they're supporting people in what they're doing, on like an online basis, and they're part of like a club. Do you know what I'm talking about? It's like a paradigm. What is it? I can't remember it. But anyways, I'll figure it out. But they're essentially becoming a part of their club, and they're opting into like a subscription service, whereas us, we would provide them the ability to have access to us in a very private environment, and where it's very low cost, but they can go home and experience those things online. But we could just do Facebook Lives.
You know, why don't you, because you're going to plant strawberries.
Yes.
Why don't you go show them how to plant strawberries in the field, and then go home, dig out a small patch in the freaking ground.
Yeah.
And show them step by step by step. This is how you put strawberries in the ground.
People love that.
People would be insane. Like, think about, like, you're thinking about doing, like, food send out to the customers, right?
Yeah.
Why can't you freaking send people strawberries? Like, if you can send wholesale stores strawberries for them to sell, why can't you do that straight to the consumer?
Yeah, 100%.
You know, because consumers are not going to want to go to the store anymore.
Yeah. We're going to sell strawberry plants, guys. You're going to come pick them up, and we're going to show you guys how to plant them.
No, 100%.
I will 100% show you guys how to plant
100%.
them. I think everybody should have strawberries in their own garden.
Yeah.
Should have the capabilities and know how to do it. And it's very easy. I'll go over the basics.
Maybe
we'll get it done. Best time to plant strawberries is coming up. So we got lots of time to plant this. We're doing it. 100%.
Yeah, maybe you should show how to plant blueberries and raspberries too, because looking forward, strawberries are only here for 3-4 months.
Yes.
You know, and they're gonna last 3 years, whereas a raspberry or blueberry will last 5-6 years.
We can do that.
You know, so why not show them how to do a crop that's gonna continuously provide them with food, going long term.
Yeah, let's do it.
You know,
let's do it.
Maybe people don't want to come out to the pumpkin patch and pick a pumpkin. Let's plant pumpkins now. Right? Be like, oh, you want to have a guaranteed you have a pumpkin on Halloween, and you don't want to go out to the pumpkin patch. Maybe you're scared right now.
Yeah.
Plant a freaking pumpkin. Yeah, like what I was saying, like making food, specific food, and be like, this pairs amazing with our wine.
What are people saying?
Joe T. Sadu says didn't get a refund working on it. Maybe at Costco.
It has to do with the flights going to Mexico.
Yeah. We should talk about that.
Inside jokes.
Yes,
We should talk about that.
I will.
And then Jocelyn the Honeyman says, "You guys are the best. You're being really innovative. People need food. You are really thinking."
Thank you very much.
Thank you, brother.
Appreciate it. We're working on it. 100% we're working on it. It just takes a lot of back end. And like some of the challenges with COV is, you know how people are buying the toilet and it's toilet paper, and it's causing people to buy even more toilet paper because they're like scared that they won't get toilet paper. I honestly don't know why the people can't just use tissues or napkins or something. Okay,
that's the funny thing.
It just blows my mind.
The Kleenexes are like still in stock.
Yes.
I think if people are really desperate, like
just buy some Kleenex paper.
A little softer, maybe.
But my issue is, I went to Terra Lake yesterday just to buy a box of gloves just for some of the things that we're doing. Simple, one box of gloves. And Terralink is a store where you buy chemicals and fertilizers. I had to stay there for half an hour because of how busy they are, because they're scared. The farmers are scared that all the chemicals and fertilizers are going to run out. So they need to look at their previous records and stockpile right now. And what that's causing is actually sellouts. I spoke to the owners of the company, of Evergrow, and the managers. They're saying, listen, man, we never run out of this stuff. We don't have a chance in running this stuff out. It's made in Canada. It's not even imported. But people are buying so much of it, we're running out of it. So it's causing me to be scared. So I literally spent all day yesterday figuring out all the chemicals that we purchased and all the fertilizers we purchased, made a large list, and we are going to have to fit the bill for this, because what if it comes to the point where I need those chemicals or we're going to have crop loss? So we have to go buy those right now. I sent that list in yesterday. She's like, it's going to take me a day to get through this list. That's how big it is. Like, it's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. Because it's as farmers that grow so many different things, we don't use a lot of one things, but we use a lot of a little bit of a lot of things. And that causes us to make sure that we are so much more well prepared, but it causes us to use so much valuable time and resources that we should be focusing on providing community with healthy food or tips, etc., that, you know, it's going to cause us to do so. So it just comes down to having skilled labor all the time and making sure that we're focused on what we need to do and people not being scared. So panic is nothing. We need to stay calm. Okay, one thing, I think the best thing that we're trying to get at, and we're getting through it now, is the morale. The morale and the attitude of us, and as farmers, as a family, as people of the society. It's changed, man. People are on edge. People were on edge, from my perspective anyways. In the past couple of days, people were definitely on edge because they're upset. All plans changed, travel plans changed, kids can't go to school. It is very hard on society. And I think that as a person myself, I need to consider that everybody's going through it together, and I'm doing a better job of it, and I need to take one step back and just be easy on everyone. Just because, you know, that person took half an hour with my box of gloves, don't get upset. If that person in the drive-thru where you're going to go get your coffee is taking a little longer, don't, just say thank you, I appreciate what you're going through, I'm happy that we're going through this together, thank you for giving my coffee, and I have a beautiful coffee in my hand. We have to be grateful in the micro settings of our day-to-day nuances. And we also have to think about how blessed we are in a macro setting of where we're living and who we're with, and our family's still healthy, and our count is still low compared to other places in the world, and it could be much, much worse as we've seen on social media. So I'm talking about locally in the community. And if you do have the means and you can help people abroad, and those opportunities do come up, it doesn't matter that they're in Italy, Mexico, or Iran, or China. We should think about helping them because we're all in it together. 100% we're all in it together. 100%.
Yeah.
So Gurleen posted saying that she wants to help the elderly. She's 100% ready to do that shit. I think she posted in like Abbotsford Bidding Wars or something.
Yeah.
Or Abbotsford Community Group.
Yeah.
And that's awesome. That's such a cool opportunity to help people.
No.
And I think giving and being selfless, it will help you be a better person and have a better attitude and make you feel good. And I think it's just the whole circle going around. Whereas if you focus on how, man, your basketball game is canceled, or if I focus on how the wedding was canceled for me all the time, I'll be in the dumps.
Yeah.
I'll be the big time dumps. And I was. I definitely was for a couple of days because it sucked, right? But I'm better now. 100% better now. And that has to do with thinking about the positives. So I think we should all focus on that.
like it feels like we're in like the 1910s or 1920s and everything's black and white. And you're watching a movie that's like quiet. Like you're just seeing the actions. That's how it feels right now.
Yeah.
There's like no energy. It's not lively. It's just not bright. It's dull. You know, it just feels that way. And like there's like what you said is like just saying hi, how are you? It goes a long way. You know, it's just saying like, oh, like how's your day going? It goes a long way. Maybe now like it's not gonna be as awkward as having a conversation. You know, because like before it's so hard to have a conversation with somebody random, but it's like, you know, it's true.
Yeah,
it's true, right?
Sure.
Like even like when I was in the UK or like when I was in Iceland or when I was like in California, like I would always say, oh, how's your day going? You know, people would smile at you.
Yeah.
And it feels good.
Yeah.
You know, they're like, oh, like this I don't get like this person probably hasn't smiled in a while. You know, even like I was snowboarding before, all the snow ski things are shut down right now.
100%.
So like there's a guy there, he was like in a really bad mood. Like he's like one of the people, like you go on like it's called the magic carpet.
Yeah,
so you can go up there, right? And he's like, don't go. I'm like, oh, how's your day going? And he like smiles at me, looks at a different way.
Yeah.
And no one else is talking to this guy, you know. So you have the opportunity to like do things that are like you just challenge your comfort zone now.
I think that
you know?
what you're saying is that it unites us all.
Yeah.
Even though we're obviously united beforehand, but we're able to all look at it in a perspective of let's all get it through together.
Yeah.
That's a big social media message that I'm seeing online anyways right now, but we all need to look at it that life is full of these small moments, and all these small moments add up to the whole entire life. Like
yeah.
It's hilarious. But when I say it like that, it sounds like a prophet or something. But we just all those small things.
Yeah.
And doing them in the perspective of being grateful and feeling blessed, and providing the opportunity to interact with people about this is cool. It's awesome. How are wine sales? I heard wine sales are through the roof.
So it's gonna be interesting because like I got an order yesterday. Somebody's like, oh, my shelf's empty and I need wine. I'm like, okay, like I'll ship it tomorrow. You know. But there's like, I went to Liquor Depot yesterday to drop off wine.
Yeah.
And they're like to me, we're not accepting any orders. Like, why are you dropping this off? I'm like, this was ordered last week.
Oh, yeah.
So Liquor Depot, all the Liquor Depots, there's over 100 in BC.
Yeah.
And there's more in Alberta. They're not accepting any orders right now.
Oh, really?
And they cut their hours.
Sure.
You know, 10 a.m. to 8 p.m. They're usually 9 a.m. to 11 p.m. So they cut their hours, right? And people are all wearing gloves. There's some stores I went to, they're super busy. Other stores that are super, super slow. Maybe they don't have as many employees because, like, I talked to one store yesterday who said, like, oh, a couple of my employees just went to the States. And now they have to be in quarantine for 14 days, so I don't have any employees. So I'm doing, like, a 7-day work week right now.
Wow.
And I'm doing overtime.
Yeah.
You know, so there's, like, a lot of industries like that, but a lot of industries are being shut down. So like, wine sales are like long term, they're probably gonna be hurt. But I think there's some opportunities now. Like next week, I'm gonna call a bunch of stores who probably don't have any stock.
Yeah.
Give them a call. Either they're gonna be like, oh, like our business is shut down, we're not ordering anything, or they'll be like, oh, like we don't have any wine. This would be great to have.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you don't really know what to expect. It's just like everybody else. Like, we don't know what's going to happen next.
Yeah.
You know, and I did get that order yesterday. I got lots of orders in the beginning of the week and the end of last week, but like in the second half of this week, I haven't been getting any orders.
Cool.
So it's going to be interesting.
Yeah. Well, I think that's good that some businesses are taking those precautions, shutting down and quarantining their staff or whatever it is. It's something that they have to consider.
Yeah.
And we have to promote.
Yeah.
You know?
And to touch on like wine sales, like I literally have tastings set up every single, like we talked about tastings last week, right?
Yeah.
Or last podcast. Like if you look at the board, you can't show it, but there's tastings set up every weekend. There's at least 2 or 3 tastings set up every weekend. There's tastings set up in Campbell River and Nanaimo. We're not going to be doing any of those.
No, this should be canceled.
Everything is canceled.
100%.
We canceled things last week, canceling this week. So there's like opportunity for wine sales. It's not there anymore.
Yeah.
You talked about last podcast how that's your competitive advantage. Doing wine tastings. Now that's gone. You know?
Yeah, but
so
people still like the wine. So we
no,
need to provide...
I'm just saying, you know,
Yeah.
how it's affecting wine sales.
Yeah.
You know, so
Yeah.
we obviously there's things you can do.
I think if we remove the barriers to entry to purchase of wine on a very easy, simple method,
Yeah.
even the Nabis provide that delivery service, which we're almost ready to launch. People will buy the wine.
Yeah.
People will buy the wine. So if we're about to do that, and we see how that goes, that will provide people the opportunity to purchase the wine. Even though liquor stores are closing, you're not able to do wine tastings. If you provide them, buy 6 bottles, get a 7th one free or something, I think they will be down.
Yeah.
They will be down, 100%. We should definitely try
I think
looking at that.
in terms of what we saw, maybe we have to be a little more generous. You know, like maybe just be a tiny bit more generous. Be like, oh, I know you guys are going through a rough time, so we're gonna give you extra discount.
Yeah.
Or we're gonna give you something free.
Yeah,
You know?
100%.
Yeah. There's a lot of small things you can do.
No, we always do. We always do
Yeah.
pretty big discounts on our wine, especially around
Yeah.
the seasons, and that's just kind of celebrating the season. Maybe this is something that we celebrate the healthcare workers or the camaraderie or of us all being together or something along those lines. So no, I
Yeah.
really appreciate that for
No,
sure.
true.
So what's your plan today in regards to what are you working on?
There's a lot of production going on that Nathan's doing. He did a filtration yesterday.
Yeah.
Laurent's hopefully going to show up next week.
Cool.
On Wednesday.
Yeah.
And we're going to be able to finalize the raspberry wine and bottle it.
Yeah.
Because a lot of stores, because that was sold out for about a month now.
Yeah.
A lot of stores have delayed orders.
Wow.
So that'll help.
Yeah.
Wine sales. Who knows if they still want to order or not?
Yeah.
But I have those contacts. I know exactly all the stores that I want to order raspberry wine, that ask for raspberry wine, but I told them no.
Okay, I got you.
know, so
just
I have
gonna
those.
keep communications with them, see what's going on.
Yeah, so we'll see what happens
Yeah.
when we get the raspberry in stock.
Yeah.
Maybe by the time we get raspberry in stock, everything calms down.
Yeah.
Or it could get different.
Yeah.
You know? Yeah, and then I want to do, I'm thinking like you mentioned about Spotify. So I have to still go in there and look at all the things about Shopify, you talk about Shopify, and selling wine online. So I have to go there and look at all those things. I didn't do that yet. You know?
Yeah, you gotta do that.
I still have to do that.
You gotta do that, especially right now. Delena's gonna be focused on creating a Shopify website right now.
Yeah.
You gotta do that right now.
I'm gonna do it ASAP. And we talked about repackaging our wine and doing it different. Maybe now I have the opportunity to do that. You know, something you can do new stuff. You know, so maybe I won't be doing as many sales, but I'll be doing stuff in the back end.
Exactly.
You know?
That's what I think that a lot of businesses are still doing that. They're still facilitating their employees a job, which is awesome. A lot of local companies that I know of are still open and still providing their employees to come, and they're making work for them that they would be doing later on in the season. They're just doing it now in hopes that they can have some hours and sustain a job and sustain their family and put food on the table, right?
Yeah.
Because so from our perspective, I want to be able to do that as well for our employees. So some of my things is figuring out how to have our employees work on something which is essential for the business, regardless of what we're going through, to make sure that they can still come in or work from home. The majority of the employees are working from home and can still do some work, right? So obviously you can't go produce wine at home, so that's a different challenge. But for me, it's the website work, seeing how we can make videos, how to get product imaging done, maybe focusing more on the wine and getting product photo shoots done. And that's something that we're trying to do on my back end, right? And that's the work that we always have to do. We're making some really big changes in the petting zoo, in the play area. We're always on a farm. The public's not coming through. We're just working with our family and ourselves. And I feel like that's 100% acceptable, especially because all the families are home with themselves. It's like me, Dad, and then Noe and Francisco.
Yeah.
But they've been here for almost a month and a half now.
Yeah. So look at that. Like we were going to do Easter this year, you know, and it was gonna be a lot of stress, and we were gonna go to your wedding. Like the wedding is stressful too, and there's Easter that wasn't gonna happen. There's Money Zabuza that was gonna happen, and we needed the farm to be ready.
Yep.
Now the farm doesn't need to be ready by that date.
Nope.
So you have opportunity to do it better.
That is
like a
so
more
true.
polished product.
So true.
You know, I've been thinking about that too. Like
So
we
true.
we have the opportunity, so you should be grateful about that.
Yep.
You know, you gotta look at things like that.
That's very exciting, actually.
No, that's great.
I think a lot of people, if they're still listening to the Facebook Live right now and the podcast right now, bless your soul, 40 minutes in, really appreciate your time, okay?
Yeah.
But I think this is a really cool nugget of information at the end of the podcast, is that our farm is open for 10 months out of the year, right? Pretty much. Maybe 9 months, okay, out of the year.
Sure.
We are open for such a long time it can get draining because we're so diversified and have our hands in so many different cookie jars, right?
Yeah.
My brother and I have always looked at the podcast or at our farm and focused on what is actually our why, what we do well, and looking at our strengths. And we know our strengths come into play later in the season. July, August, September, October is our main strengths and core money-making months.
Yeah, maybe June too.
And where we affect the most families. Yeah, June as well, yeah. And then April, March, and May are hard to really get through. And that has to do with the seasonality. That's when we're doing a lot of the work and we're coming out of the winter months, things are warming up. But it also has to do with the time and money and resources that we spread across the entire season. So now if we have less months because of the pandemic that's going on, that we're open for the public, it is a key factor of us being successful in the later months. So I hope and I pray that we figure out how to get through this pandemic by June and July, but we are going to be hitting the ground running. Big time.
No, 100%.
Big
and
time.
like, if you don't have that mindset, you're gonna regret it.
Oh yeah.
You're gonna regret it. Like going forward, it's like, holy shit, I should have done that. Now I'm stressed out. I didn't do all these things.
I think you're being irresponsible.
Yeah.
If you're not looking at how you can make the best use of your time.
Yeah.
For the community, for your family, and still taking the safety and all the precautions at hand.
Yeah.
100%.
No, you should look at it as a positive situation. Sure, people are like, there's a lot of shit going on in the world that sucks. But like in Canada or in BC or wherever you are that hasn't hit as hard, or where you're doing good things like doing social distancing, you're washing your hands every
Good
day.
hand hygiene,
Maybe you won't get infected, or maybe you will, but you have the opportunity to do things.
Yeah.
Right.
You
You shouldn't be crippled by what's going on.
Yeah.
Right.
Well, I'm excited. I'm excited for fall. I'm excited for the end of summer. And I'm excited for all the things that we're going to be doing throughout the season. So for sure, that is definitely a check in the positivity box.
100%.
For sure.
Is
Okay.
there anything on this list we're doing?
I don't know, man. I think we talked about a lot of things. I really hope that we can all band together through this. We have some solid plans. I'm really excited about the planting strawberries, planting different crops, showing people where the food comes from, and doing those virtual classes. I'm going to do that 100%.
Yeah.
I think you should also look at how you could probably do that at home with what you have available. Obviously, you can't just go show people how to produce wine in a whole sense, but maybe it's you're showing people how to make sangria or showing them how to mix different wines together.
Sure.
Because they're at home, 100%. And that's something that they can do on a daily basis. I'm guarantee you wine sales have gone through the roof in alcohol sales have gone through the roof in a general sense. Yeah. Because people are sitting at home, they don't have anything to do, they don't have to work the next day, right?
Might as well drink.
Might as well as have a drink or have a glass of wine, right?
Right.
So show people that, and I think that's something that we're very excited to do. So we appreciate you guys for being on this journey with us, for listening to our podcast, listening to our Facebook Lives, being part of our YouTube channel. We will definitely be putting out more content as we go through this together, and hopefully we can share that with you. If you guys have any questions, please reach out to us at any time. We're 100% there.
Yeah, no, I'm excited for episode 30. We can look
30,
back
baby.
at this podcast and see what's going on in the world.
For sure.
You know?
Okay, should we sign out?
Signing out, farmer or winemaker Gaurav. I'm a farmer too.
Farmer Amir, see you later, guys. Thanks for being part of
Cheers.
this. Yeah.
Cheers. Bye.
Cheers.